very good Tuesday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight at 6:30. Another really nice day across northern Michigan, but another day where that really doesn't matter because the big focus when it comes to the weather is all of the smoke and haze in the sky. Joe, we talked a lot about this yesterday. It sounds like we may see some relief later on this week, but tomorrow could still be another smoky day.
Yeah, and I think a little better tomorrow, but I think much better by Thursday.
Okay.
So it's not going to get any worse than it is now, because especially over the weekend, early part of the week, it was a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
Up there, we had unhealthy levels of it, in fact. But some improvement in that. If you're in Newberry, I'm sure somebody's watching there right now. You could look in the thing and see probably where the people are tuned in from. But a big heavy downpour there, but most areas are just dry again tonight, Maya. So we'll take a look at when we may get a little more rain. And I know you have planned Saturday, a kind of a special day for you, but it's going to be like 90, 93 degrees on Saturday.
Oh boy.
So pretty hot one.
Yeah, hot one.
You know what? We'll talk about all that a little later.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Joe. Our top story tonight, it has been 10 days since the mass stabbing incident at the Grand Traverse County Walmart, and those who were there that day are now eligible for financial help from the state. Our Allie Baxter explains how the Crime Victim Compensation Program works.
I don't know what to do. I'm trying to get through it, but it's not going away.
Isn't there a way that some of these victims, especially the victims, could get help?
On Saturday, July 26th, 42-year-old Bradford Gilly went to the Walmart in Garfield Township and, for reasons still unknown, stabbed 11 people inside. While those 11 are healing from physical scars received that day, many others walked away with scars that can't be seen.
I would talk to random strangers in line at a grocery store, and my daughter would always be like, "Oh, hey, you talk to everybody." And now I'm just afraid of everybody, and I feel like a kid again.
We spoke to Laura the day after the stabbings happened. She and her sister helped one of the victims who had been injured.
I don't really talk to anyone other than my sister, and, she's kind of going through the same thing, too.
Since the mass stabbing incident, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Victim Service Division activated the Crime Victim Compensation Program, a program that provides financial help for
loss of earnings, loss of support, counseling, medical expenses. What will happen is if somebody has insurance, they will go through their insurance company first to get medical bills paid. And if there's any leftover out-of-pocket expenses, that's when the crime victims compensation comes in.
Susie Barchef is one of the victim advocates at the Grand Traverse County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. The office is working to get in touch with anyone who may qualify for the compensation program, which Susie says is more than just the 11 stabbing victims.
Our office has charged terrorism that allows for individuals that were at Walmart during the incident to also apply for these services. Anyone that was at the store may have witnessed it, even if they were in the back of the store and did not see anything.
It's a service Susie says they're trying to get the word out about, and they want people at Walmart that day to take advantage of it.
We went back to Walmart on Sunday, kind of walked through everything, everywhere we'd been, and reminisced as to what happened. And I thought I was fine. And then Monday, I just all of a sudden just kind of, broke down.
Jan says she missed the community counseling opportunities that were available immediately after the incident. She also helped a severely injured woman that day. She says knowing there's now an option out there for continued support is reassuring.
I'm the only one that shops at my house, so our fridge is a little bare right now because I haven't really gone to a grocery store.
For Laura, what she witnessed that day at Walmart has stuck with her, and she says it's been difficult to not think about it. But right now, she doesn't have insurance to cover counseling sessions, something the compensation program could help with.
I should just be able to get over it because my trauma wasn't as bad as theirs, although it really did affect me in a different way. And so it's just like, I don't know, I just trying not to be, I feel selfish because I'm still still scared and still upset, and I didn't get hurt, but it's still there.
In Grand Traverse County, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
And Allie is joining us live now from our content center for more on this story. And Allie, I think this is a really important resource available because, as you touched on in your story, we obviously know 11 people that day were stabbed. They were directly impacted the most, but there were probably hundreds of people at that Walmart or around the area who also maybe weren't as directly impacted, but maybe more emotionally. They were still very much a victim of the incident. So this compensation is not just for those 11 people who were stabbed, but for anyone who may have been affected by this tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And also when I was talking to Susie today, who is one of those victim advocates, she did tell me that those 11 victims who were stabbed, who did receive those injuries, they've all already been taken care of. They've been contacted, they've gotten their applications in for this, and they've all already been taken care of. She said what they're focusing on right now is being able to connect with the other community members who were affected by this. And that was, a big explanation of, why this terrorism charge. And that seems to be a big factor, because the terrorism charge does open this up. It activates that crime victims compensation program. So not just those 11 victims who were injured, taken to the hospital, but everyone else who witnessed this, who may need some long-term mental health care, can also take advantage of this as well.
And yep, we know this did impact the entire community. So if someone is watching right now and they're wondering, maybe I'd be eligible for this sort of program, how will they know for sure if they can qualify for this?
Yeah, so that was a good question that I actually asked that today as well with Susie. And she said, come to us. We want to talk to you. She said, honestly, it really just depends. Like, were you at Walmart that day? And even if you were over in the clothes section and you didn't actually see the stabbings take place, you were hustled out of the store, you still experienced a significant form of trauma, having to be rushed from this grocery store, knowing that this was taking place. She says she doesn't want people to overthink it too much, and that you can contact their office if you do have questions. Also, at the end of the day, MDHHS will be going over and approving those applications as well.
And we have all that information over on our website, UpNorthLive.com. And Allie, you mentioned that some people may be eligible to be reimbursed for any like counseling services or mental health care. And you mentioned a few other things in your story as well. But what are some other services that they may be able to get the cost covered for through this program?
I think a big one is loss of earnings, loss of wages. In my conversations today with some of those witnesses we just spoke to, 9 days ago, they said, I had a hard time trying to go to work the next couple of days just because of what happened. And I was trying to process it. And I had a lot of emotions about it, and I had to take, a day off work because it was a very stressful experience. And, I really went back and forth about that because I need the money, I need to go to work. So that's another thing that this can help with: loss of wages, loss of earnings. I've also been told that there are some employees at Walmart who feel a little bit uncomfortable, who needed some time off as well. That's something that this can help with too.
And you mentioned that this program was opened up due to that terrorism charge. So is this crime victim compensation program, is it rarely used? Like, have you heard of other instances where this is available in the state of Michigan?
I haven't specifically within our state. I'm sure it has been used before, just in going over and looking at the application for it. It seems that it does apply to mass events that happen. So other situations where it takes place in a very public place seem to kind of fall and check some of those boxes where it would activate this.
And this is obviously an obvious question, but when you're talking to Susie, did she touch on why it's important that this help assistance is available for victims?
She said it's important because she wants to make sure, that our community is taken care of, that no one comes under, financial strain or pressure. And then, as a side note as well, we know that some people have insurance, some people don't have insurance. So she said this is really kind of the fallback. If you have insurance, it's not covering the full cost of maybe those lost wages, those other things that it's supposed to be helping with. She said that's what this is supposed to be used for. And she doesn't want anyone to think that, oh, well, because my trauma isn't as big as someone else's. I wasn't one of the people who helped those who were injured, or I was someone who ran out of the store because I had family there and I didn't stop to help. She said she doesn't want anyone to kind of, compare and contrast traumas, that these are all things that are applicable, that can be applied for.
Sure. Anything else you want to mention about this program that we haven't touched on yet, Allie?
I would say if you have any questions, definitely reach out to that victim advocate's office. They are here because they said they want to be able to get this word out that this option is available to as many people as possible. Obviously, that's pretty hard because there was a lot of people around Walmart at the time. So they said they're trying to put together some kind of like mass email list and trying to get contact information for people. But they are also working on a website that they said should be up within the next week or so that has all this information together as well.
Perfect. We'll be sure to post that website once it does go online over on our website, UpNorthLive.com. And again, we have all the information on how to apply and just more details on if you are eligible over on our website as well. So Allie, thank you so much for joining us and going into a little more detail about the Crime Victim Compensation Program. Well, switching gears now, Northern Michigan airports connect us to the rest of the world, but our airport directors say potential funding cuts would negatively impact smaller airports in the area. And as our Cody Bear reports, that's why a new bill is being sent to the U.S. Senate to try to protect those airports.
We have a one-stop from Pellston direct to Chicago, and then, transfer on or to Detroit and do the same thing. So it really does put anyone in our area in touch with the rest of the world through air service.
But Mallory worries that funding cuts proposed by the Trump administration, including about $300 million in cuts to the nationwide Essential Air Service program, could put that in jeopardy.
That's gut-wrenching. It's something that would be detrimental to us and several other airports in Northern Michigan.
The airports eligible for Essential Air Service funding include ones in Pellston, Alpena, Manistee, and Sault Ste. Marie.
We would essentially potentially lose our air service here.
EAS funding is used by smaller airports to contract airlines to go through them.
A bigger airport, more aircraft, more seats, right? More people coming in and out. So why is it beneficial for us to go to, say, Pellston and fly commercial service in and out of there? Essential Air Service is a big piece of that. It's a big incentive for them to come in and out.
And Mallory says losing that incentive could create a domino effect.
We fill those seats with people coming and going for whatever reason. In turn, the employments every year are looked at by the FAA and as to whether or not we're entitled to grant money based on that service so that we continue to put back into the airport infrastructure, building, safety, operations.
The Senate Appropriations Committee is sending a bipartisan bill to Congress that includes protections for EAS funding for rural airports. Senator Gary Peters, a member of the committee, released a statement saying in part, quote, "These airports are essential to Michigan's economy, and there's no question that our air travel industry is in desperate need of investment. These provisions will help ensure U.S. air travel is safe and reliable." Mallory appreciates the effort because he says the funding impacts all of us.
You might drive by it every day and not necessarily see the impact, but when you reach out and consider all the things that happen here on a daily basis, it really does impact you. And it would be hard not to put a finger on an impact in your personal life, one way or another, through an airport.
In Northern Michigan, Cody Bear, Up North Live News.
And going off of that, let's take a look at our question of the day today. Do you value having a small airport near you? Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. It looks like at this point, we have 163 votes, 75% saying yes, 25 no. You can also go over to our Facebook page to leave a comment. And as always, I will take a look at those comments and updated results at the end of the show. But before we take a break, we have another story to share with you, this one in Alpena. The Alpena Chamber of Commerce and Burnett Property Group have agreed to build a housing development. The 51-acre land on the southeast corner of US 23 and Hamilton Road is set to feature a mixed housing model, including low-rise multifamily and single-family homes with both for sale and for rent options. The initial phase includes dozens of new units, and although they are still in the early stages of preparing, the Director of Economic Development for the Chamber understands the longevity of the whole process.
Without step one, you can't get to step two or step four or step 10. And so we need to start somewhere. So I'm just glad that the folks that are coming up here today have a legitimate interest. They know the area, they know the market, and they have a good team of people they brought here who have kind of all specialized kind of skill sets and projects like this. So this is a good group to evaluate this project. And I think if they get to the point where there is something to move forward with, they have the ability to execute.
And the development is expected to include at least 60 housing units. All right, let's take a quick pause, but coming up in just a couple of minutes, we will bring back in Chief Meteorologist Joe Sholovoy for much more on your forecast. Straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
It's been a pretty nice day across northern Michigan. Warm, but not too warm. Definitely too smoky, but not much we can do about that. So, Joe, in terms of the weather tonight, is it going to be a nice, cool night, good for sleeping conditions, or is it going to stay a little warm?
Probably better than it's going to be a couple days down the road.
Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah, I think a lot of 50s tonight, which is still pretty tolerable,
Perfect,
pretty
yep.
manageable, because later in the week we're looking at 60s, maybe some 70s at night. By the way, you think they knew they were being, well, we'll go back to it in a minute. We had our UpNorthLive drone out earlier today. This is in Leland County. There's Fishtown, which is that part of Leland you see there out near the water. And nice day today. It was hazy. Yeah, right there.
Oh, and that guy's in the sand too. Did he get out?
He did.
Oh,
but
nice.
watch the other guy. I think he puts this one in.
Oh my gosh, the
right
pressure.
Here. But I think at the end it cuts out, like right.
Oh yeah, that went in. He got it. Wow.
We'll call it good.
Yeah.
We'll call it good. All right, that was earlier today. Nice one at Leland. All right, air quality alerts are still in effect. Now, these will last through tomorrow. The DEQ mentioning that today. Now, the southern part of the state is going to see this expire at midnight. We still will have some smoke here for a little while. There's a look at it right now. And here is how this kind of evolves. Notice tomorrow, smoke gets pushed north. And we continue to kind of lose this by Thursday. A lot of the smoke will kind of get pushed out of the area. So I do think, if anything, we're going to see better air quality as we move through the rest of the week. Still some around tomorrow, maybe a touch of haze Thursday, but things should start to improve. The weather map tonight, high pressure way up in northeast Canada, up in Quebec. We have an area of low pressure out in the Dakotas tonight near the Black Hills and Rapid City. Some storms out there. Any rain in our area needs like lake breezes and things to glide along. And we have had some in the UP. We've had some rain up around Marquette. And we mentioned off the top of this show around Newberry right here. There's been a little bit of rain too. Right now, just south of town. But this is already kind of falling apart here down toward the Trail Lake area. The story of the next few days pretty straightforward. We're going to get into the afternoon hours, a little more cloud cover tomorrow, and then see right here, a couple pop-up showers and storms, nothing widespread. Thursday, a few showers north in the morning. Yeah, right there in the afternoon, a couple pop-up showers and thunderstorms. And then we could potentially see the same thing as we head into Friday afternoon as well. It's going to get warm late week, and the dew point's going to climb. These are the dew points. So the higher this number is, the more moisture is in the air. And look by not so much Thursday, but especially Friday and Saturday, dew points near 70. And that is going to pair up with these kind of temperatures this weekend, 88 to 94 on Saturday, and then 82 to 90 on Sunday. So we have a very warm to hot weekend coming up. All right, the extended forecast looks like a lot of rain every day. It looks like, oh my gosh, there's thunder and lightning. Not really. Kind of hit and miss showers and storms. Maybe a better chance next week. It looks like a stronger cold front may arrive early next week with some showers and storms then too. But the good news, Maya, again, we're going to kind of see the air quality improving later this week.
Good. Long overdue. Mm-hmm. All right, Joe, thank you so much for that. Let's take a quick break. But coming up next, we will talk some college football and sports. Stay with us. College football season is right around the corner, and the Michigan State Spartans will start their new season 3 weeks from Friday. Sports director Harrison Beebe helps us navigate how things might look for the green and white from our digital studio.
The college football regular season is going to be here before we know it at the end of this month, as a matter of fact. And we know teams are already busy at training camps, getting ready for the 12 game schedules ahead. And of course, some teams hope to be playing 13. Some teams hope to be playing a lot more than that if they make it to the college football playoff. Michigan State, what do you say about the Spartans? They've had 3 sub-500 seasons the last 3 years. This is now going to be their second season under new head coach Jonathan Smith. Taking a look at the schedule now for the Spartans, they get things started on that traditional Friday night right before Labor Day weekend. It'll be at home against Western Michigan. And then the following week, we'll see Boston College. And then the week after that, Youngstown State. Big Ten play opens. It's a tough opener out west against USC on September 20th. And then another road game at Nebraska. No easy wins in the Big Ten. We know that for sure. And the Spartans are going to be playing from behind the 8 ball in a sense. Then as we shift into October some more, they'll be having their first home game in conference against UCLA. That'll be Saturday, October 11th. That's followed by a trip to Indiana. What will the Hoosiers look like on October 18th? Remember, that's a college football playoff team from last year. We'll see how they play this season. And then October 25th is the biggie this year. It's at Spartan Stadium. The Spartans have not beaten the Michigan Wolverines since 2021. Will that change this year? A lot to be decided before October 25th, but that is the biggie if you care about this in-state rivalry. And then 4 more games to go in the month of November. That includes trips to Minnesota, and then a home game with Penn State. That'll be the final home game at Spartan Stadium for the year. Another trip to Iowa comes up on November 22nd. And then the season concludes on Saturday, November 29th. That'll be against Maryland, but that game will be like 2 years ago with Penn State. That game will be at Ford Field on Saturday, the 29th. So how does MSU look in year 2 under Jonathan Smith? We'll have to find out in a few months, but that is their schedule so far. Had a lot of guys coming back, not a ton of crazy movement in the portal for them, but MSU will get things started on the Friday before Labor Day weekend against Western Michigan. That'll do it for me, Harrison Beebe, for Unscripted. Back to you.
Thanks, Harrison. I might have to make a trip down to Bloomington for that IU game. Could be a good one. All right, let's take a quick break, but we'll check out the live results for our question of the day straight ahead.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
All right, taking a live look at the results for our question of the day. Do you value having a small airport near you? 76% yes, 24% no. You can still vote by scanning that QR code on your screen. You can also leave a comment over on our Facebook page. That's where Jim says Pellston Regional Airport is so easy. The free parking makes up for the higher prices most of the time. Jenny says we have a very small one in our county, no issues. Sherry says Gaylord Regional Airport is an asset to all of northern Michigan. And Bill says only if they're quiet. LOL. Well, thanks so much for all those comments and for voting and for joining us on Unscripted. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock tonight.